you very much.
Just have one.
This is your intestine, small bowel, upper part of the small intestine, which looks all pretty normal. And we're just kind of looking down at it to make sure there's nothing that looks like Crohn's disease up at the top part of the small intestine. And still looks pretty normal. Still looks pretty normal. And then we got into an area that was stuck down to where the Crohn's was active. So this is a segment of the intestine that's kind of not real happy right here. Kind of all inflamed, irritated. We're going to have to decide what we're going to do with that piece in a few minutes. And then it kind of turns normal again. And this was another piece right here that was stuck down to where the Crohn's was active again. A little bit bleedy there. We're going to touch it with a little cautery just to keep it from bleeding, but we may have to kind of take this little segment out or do something with this little segment as well. And then, you know, come back and give them a little panoramic view of, you know, doesn't that thing zoom in, zoom out? You should be able to zoom in and zoom out without having to
Come back in.
And then here's where the disease was pretty active, Peter. This mat of small intestine here, here's actually a piece of the colon right here. Here's where it was hooked together before, right here. And here's the small intestine that's all re-involved with Crohn's disease. And in fact, there was a little perforation right there where Rich is showing with the pickups. It was all perforated. And so we're going to take this segment out right here, do some repair work on these little spots up here, and then hook your intestine back down to your colon here. It's got to be the utmost in introspection, Peter. All right.
Okay.
Let's just come across here, and score that, and we'll GIA that. You can keep it running for a little bit longer if you want.
Okay.
Take this one here. And this looks pretty normal right here, you know. If I just come.
See as much as I can.
Yeah.
Finish up my line right there.
Yeah, I think that's probably not unreasonable. Kelly, ready, please? Yeah. Come right through right there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, GIA, please. And this is the stay sign.
Yep. So you want to come this way since the blood supply is greater up here.
Exactly.
Because the blood supply has to come all the way across into mesenteric, so you want to angle, you don't want to angle that way, you want to angle this way.
Right, you don't want to devascularize this little spot right there. Okay, so it's got a good blood supply right there. So the small bowel control that for a minute, and we'll come back. Okay. Alright. And let's just kind of come right on the dotted line here and give you that side.
Need to read that.
Kelly, please. Stay inside there. That's Kelly's again. And if you have to decide what we're going to do with these upper things, I don't think they're primarily involved, but I'm not sure if we can repair it or we'll have to do some more limited resection of that. Just have to see how it looks at that. You have to stay inside.
Oh no, about that bike.
Kelly's again.
This way here.
As the blister gets really thick, you have to wind up actually suture ligating and let it go where you can. You don't want to hold a stitch very well.
That or it gets, one of those stitches got a steroid too.
Yeah, so look at this. And another set of Kellys if you have them.
That's one. Long, extra long.
You got another set? Okay, we'll take the long ones. We'll take it.
How many you got left?
I have two more.
Okay, 0 ties. And here's the part that's nasty. And there's not much small bowel that's removed there, really. I mean, here's our, that's colon, so, it doesn't look like we've got that much small bowel that we've removed, and depending on what we're going to do with this. Got a specimen basin?
Let me know when you want me to shut off.
Yeah, you can probably shut it off.
Okay.
You got work to do. There we go. Here's the finished product, so Peter. Here's the small intestine. Here's the colon here. Here's where we put the bowel back together, right here. You see this staple line coming down right there. There's the colon, and here's the small intestine. These upper spots that I mentioned to you before were just kind of inflamed, but we sort of cleaned those up a little bit and didn't have to take out any small bowel there. So now we're just kind of closing this little hole between the small bowel. We're still alive, we're still with us, and we're getting ready to close up here. Have a nice day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How about some music?